Hello and a very warm welcome to Curated Spaces, the podcast that is on a mission to rekindle real-world connection. I'm Molly Cooper, and in these Snapshot episodes I sit down with some pretty wonderful people getting up to some pretty incredible things and bring you the inside scoop from travel, design and hospitality. Curated Spaces is all about getting out there and connecting with places and faces, so go on, book in those midweek drinks, hit up that new opening, or just invite your nearest and dearest around for a cuppa. Now, without further ado, let's get into the conversation.
In today's Snapshot episode, I'm sitting down with Ellea Whamond from 100 Acres, the Cotswolds-based botanical fragrance brand, beloved by spaces and people around the country. Inspired by rolling green hills and wildflower meadows, this brand has bottled up the essence of the great British countryside with 100% natural botanical ingredients. Ellea, it's such a pleasure to be here with you today. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. It's I would say it's a sunny day. It's not. It's pretty grey and miserable, but all good.
But quite hot for February.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, really caught me out.
I know. I'm actually I'm not ready to put away the jumpers and the coats. But
I'm a bit of a winter girl. I love a crisp English day.
Yeah, a log fire.
Oh, and speaking of, there was one when we walked in here. It's so cozy.
Love it.
Oh, well, I'm so excited to hear and talk about all things botanical with you.
Yeah, lovely.
But before we do, I'd love to chat a bit about you first and your background and how you ended up at the helm of 100 Acres.
Yeah, absolutely. So I took 100 Acres over about 3-4 years ago. Yeah. I basically took the brand over from someone else. Fell in love with it, and long story short, said that I'd love to take a leap and try and grow it, basically. I was going to go into law. I've always been super creative and kind of was thinking that I didn't really want to go into law, and it just kind of seemed like the perfect opportunity. It's been a bit of it's been a journey, and it was a bit of a leap, but I love it. I love the brand. I love, working on a small business. I love trying to grow something from scratch. So yeah,
I love it.
It feels perfect for me.
Yes, and God loves a hustler.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. God, you learn to do that.
All those different hats you're wearing and all those plates
oh
you're
my
spinning.
God.
Yeah, and you obviously grew up in the Cotswolds.
I did. I grew up in Gloucestershire. Family lived there. Grandparents lived there. Went to school there. Yeah. I now split my time between London and the Cotswolds.
Best of both worlds.
It is. I sometimes get a bit fed up of living out of a suitcase, but actually I should. I'm trying to not. I'm trying to be like, actually, this is such a lovely way to live. Yeah. And it's really nice to have both, because I think I always knew that I didn't want to just stay in Gloucestershire. I think growing up I was like, I'm going to go to the big city, kind of like everyone does. Yeah. But I don't think I'd kind of want just one or the other. It's nice to have a bit of both. So.
I think that's such a nice way to live in the same week, because I think a lot of people might do a term in London and then it's holidays and they'll do 6 weeks in the Cotswolds. Yeah. Whereas actually it's so nice to get that city and country balance every week.
It really is, and it's nice as well having the routine, because I would often do 2 weeks in the Cotswolds, then 10 days in London, then 3 weeks in the Cotswolds, and 4 days in London. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm coming or going. Yeah. Whereas now it's actually really nice having the routine, knowing what's going on every day, who's in the office, what we're working on that day, and then coming back to London and and socialising on the weekend. So yeah, it works well actually.
Oh, that sounds great to me.
Yeah, I know, it's good. I'm very lucky.
And then speaking of the Cotswolds, so maybe we should introduce 100 Acres for people who haven't heard of it. Yeah. It's such a special and such a gorgeous brand you've built.
It is. It is just, I feel incredibly lucky to be at the helm of it. It's such a beautiful brand. So for those who don't know, obviously Molly introduced it very well, but we are a botanical fragrance brand, hand wash, body wash, scented candles, all that kind of thing. We fragrance our products purely with herbs, flowers, fruits, that sort of thing. And the idea is that we try to capture 100 acres of beautiful English countryside in a bottle. We have 3 kind of key things that define our products and make them so beautiful. All of our products contain over 8 botanical oils, all freshly distilled from herbs, flowers and fruits. Most brands actually only use 2 or 3. So I know a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's expensive, which is why most brands don't do it. But we know that it's kind of what makes our fragrances so complex and rich and kind of distinctly 100 acres. Anyway, so that's the first thing. Second thing is that all of these oils we include in the highest possible concentration, approximately 4 times higher than industry standard. Again, super expensive, but we, it's what makes our scents so beautiful. You kind of have to smell them to believe them.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is that all of our products actually have a different fragrance. So across the whole range, they have the same base notes, same middle notes, and then the top notes vary from product to product.
Ooh.
So like hand wash is a slightly different scent to body wash, which is a slightly different scent to like bubble bath, for example. And then as you use the products throughout your day, all of the different notes intermingle and layer on your skin and transport you to your own 100 acres. So that's the whole, you know, you really need to smell them to believe them.
Well,
really.
I'm luckily enough I have smelled them.
Have you?
I was recording at Double Red. And,
yeah.
And I think it's that thing when you have a shower in a hotel or like a bath and you're like, oh God, how does that just smell so much better than anything I pour in my own bath? What is that? And obviously it's that like quadruple concentration and the essential oils.
It really is. And I think people, when they smell our products, are really actually taken aback by that, because most brands don't do fragrances like we do. They don't do products like we do because it's really expensive. And you know, we're lucky, I suppose, in that we're small and we don't have kind of bigger people to kind of answer to. We can do things our way and in a way that we know makes our products stand out. Whereas if you were like owned by a big conglomerate, then you know, you'd have pressures to like cut margins and streamline, you know, production, or make one giant batch every 2 years or something. Whereas we, I guess, are lucky in that like we get to define what makes our products so great, and we know that they have to be so great because it's such a competitive market.
So competitive.
So anyway.
No, but can confirm they are. And I'd actually love to dig into a little bit. You just mentioned then like the base notes and the top notes, because I actually don't know anything about the world of fragrance. Yeah. And I'd love to know a bit about how that works, and like, is there a method to the madness? Yeah,
there absolutely is. Yeah. So I am kind of training really in perfumery, which is super exciting. Wow. And we also do have a wonderful nose that kind of like, you know, I'm not by any means like the best in well, even in the county probably by a mile, but it's a fascinating world to kind of learn about. There is definitely a technique to it. It really is a case of like building the fragrance. Really, it's got like building blocks, and there are of course certain percentages of certain essential oils that, you know, you can't go above that limit because it's like it will sensitize your skin or something like that. But it's a really fascinating world. But I think also I sometimes feel that the fragrance world is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit led with like, oh well, you know, vanilla goes with musk or whatever. And actually it's like, for me, I don't like fragrances to be built because they should be built a certain way. And I sometimes feel, maybe this is bad to say, but I sometimes feel like they're a little bit indulgent for the perfumer themselves, was actually we build our fragrances to make you feel a certain way, to like transport you out to, you know, the countryside. It has to be about the way the fragrance makes you feel rather than necessarily what's like technically the correct kind of way to build it.
Because scent is just such a powerful, like it can just transport you. You know, when you smell your ex's perfume, like walk down the street, you're like,
I know.
Oh my God.
I think I read as well, I mean, don't quote me on it, but I think I read that it is the only scent to be like physically, oh my God, I'm going to be like eating my words, so I'm not sure if it's totally correct, but it's like the only sense to be like physically connected. I want to say to your brain, that's obviously not right, because like your nose, because like your ears, and it's like you've got the olfactory bulb right in your brain, and I just think, at least for me, it really like hits my senses in a different way than even like taste or something does.
Yeah, I think it really triggers something in your memory part of your brain. Yeah. Spot the two people who didn't do much biology,
didn't do chemistry or biology. No, definitely not.
But it's so true, and people remember like specific scents and spaces and places and people. So I love that you're sort of centering the whole brand around championing like the physical countryside and the oils and the plants, and not like the clinical, what is clinically right.
I mean, it's totally, I mean, we do what we do to try and reconnect you, you know, with the beautiful outdoors, really. I think in life we've become so separate from nature, and I think, you know, we do what we do to really try and make you feel reconnected wherever you are, whether you are, you know, actually out in the Cotswolds having a lovely weekend, or actually maybe you're in your flat in London or in Birmingham on a Monday morning, you're about to get on the tube to work, but actually you can just have 5 minutes in the shower and like just, you know, for that 5 minutes you're out.
That. And I think that is so relevant what you say. Like we are all especially living in cities, when you don't have the luxury of being Monday to Wednesday in the Cotswolds.
Yeah, I know.
We all live in this like very grey, very detached from nature. We're not very in sync with the seasons or the cycles, and it's very easy to get to lose that touch and lose that grounding that you get from being in nature.
Yeah, and so much so that I think people kind of forget what it can do for you. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I just feel that if I'm stressed or whatever, it's so simple, but I will just go for a walk. I'll just go for a walk. I'll sit like in a field or in a forest or whatever. And it's just like, I think in reconnecting with the outdoors, you realize that you're part of something bigger, and all of the tiny stresses that you're worrying about before, like, oh, this supplier said this, or like, oh, like I just received a terrible email or something like that, or like a customer's order's gone missing. Obviously these things are all important, but it's just like, okay, I don't know, I think being in nature gives you that perspective and that fulfillment that we need as human beings, basically.
And I think that really reflects like this bigger shift. I think wellness got hijacked by skinniness, size zero, green smoothies, the gym, early mornings. And I don't think that is wellness at all.
Well, I feel like they were all kind of searching for something, and it's like, well, that something is, for me, is just get outside. It's quite simple. It's like all those things are fabulous, but they're kind of skirting the issue for me. And I think they can be kind of a lovely accessory to it, but it's like, actually just get outside. Don't take your phone. Get outside. Go and like have a look around, have a feel, have a smell.
Because at the end, there's that saying, isn't there, that we're like, I can't remember it, and it's like we're basically ancient, animals with like medieval processes and like godlike technology, and our dangerous ancestor animals are just like, what the hell is happening? Like, our brains and bodies were not built to like cope with all this information and this data and this online time. And actually what we need is more time outside in nature with people. We're sociable animals, just having a moment. And I love that this brand gives people that ritual almost to like return back to that space of wellness and comfort and nurturing from nature.
Totally. I mean, first and foremost, we say like get outside. Like you don't need to use 100 acres. Like just get outside. And obviously, for those who love being outside, or for those who can't be outside, then obviously please do use 100 acres. But it's not. We're not trying to flog things. First and foremost, we're saying, look, go outside, and if you want a way of reconnecting, feel absolutely free to use 100 acres.
As you flipping well should, because it's lovely.
It's beautiful,
And then maybe for people who, this is obviously part of the Cotswolds edition, for people who are in the region or they're planning a trip, are there any little spots that you like to escape to when you're there, or maybe off under the radar finds? It could be a space, it could be a walk.
Do you know there are?
The issue is if you share them here.
If I share them, then the whole world will go. But obviously there's lots of beautiful hotels and that kind of thing. In terms of walks, I mean, it's all pretty local to where I am or where I grew up. But Woodchester Lakes in Gloucestershire are really, really beautiful. I mean, ideally the whole world wouldn't start flocking there, but if you're in the area, then they're really, really beautiful. You're not really supposed to swim in them because there's lots of wildlife and birds and birds' nests and fish and all that wonderful stuff. But it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. Lots of like big lakes, huge trees that must, like hundreds and hundreds of years old. That's a really beautiful place to spend a Sunday. Also, I mean, where I live, there's just a giant, we call it the common, it's just like a giant common land, basically. Like Rodborough, for example, or like Minchinhampton, like a good place to head. And it's just a giant open space, lots of kind of undulating hills. There's like wild cows, horses, donkeys. It's just like,
what?
Yeah, I know.
It's like medieval.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure there's quite a few places in the UK that still have that, but it's like they're literally like, I'm often like late to a meeting because I'm just, oh sorry, there was a cow on the road, which is like so ridiculously country bumpkin. I have to like come back to London and just like recalibrate. But I think for me, Gloucestershire is a great part of the world.
I'm actually heading out to the Cotswolds pretty soon, so I'll have to go and hit them up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Lovely. Where are you going?
Well, we're starting off in Avebury. Avebury.
Actually, I don't know. I've always heard Avebury.
And then we're heading over to the New Cowley Manor.
Oh, lovely. Do you know, I haven't been there actually since it's been redone. I'd love to.
Come
Yeah. Oh, God, amazing. Can't wait to hear about that, actually.
Yeah, so no, very excited. Oh, I'm so excited to try those spots out.
Yeah.
And it's been such a pleasure chatting about all things wellness and taking a deep breath. I do, of course, have a closing tradition of some quick fire questions. If you're up for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, what is one place that you've been to and felt completely at ease?
I would have to say Hampton Common.
Really?
Yeah, which I know it's like, I just, I'm sure people might go and be like, God, what's so special about this? But I grew up there, so I suppose I'm biased. Yeah, definitely there. Also, Wild Hive, Callow Hall in Derbyshire. Have you been?
Yes.
Really,
gosh,
so beautiful. I went last spring when they're like, sorry, it's meant to be quick fire.
No.
But there's beautiful tree houses, basically, really like, they're so beautiful in the middle of a bluebell forest. So if you can go in like March, April, that's a really, I try to like not take my phone, not take my laptop.
Yeah.
It's just a really beautiful place to unplug and feel at peace.
Heaven. And what's one ritual that you have in your day to day?
Sure. So every week, generally on a Monday evening, I will try and go outside and pick something from the garden or hedgerows or whatever. I don't do it every week, but I actually really do try to. Obviously, it's better in spring and summer when there's actually like stuff to pick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will go and pick like that probably sounds so weird, but I'll literally just like grab a basket, go and pick. I mean, whatever's plentiful. Obviously, if you're picking from hedgerows, I think the rule is. Yeah. Well, I can't. Yeah, I just don't pick much of it. Basically, make sure there's like. Make sure it's not a rare species, make sure there's lots around. But yeah, I will try and pick like herbs, lavender. Like I don't really care if they're weeds or not. I'll just kind of like pick up anything and put it on my desk. And it just, I don't know, it just really boosts my week. So every week I do try and get outside, pick kind of whatever's there and whatever's seasonal. Ideally from the garden, because obviously then I know that we can kind of regenerate it. But
that's so fun. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah, it's actually it's a really nice ritual. Yeah. It's a lovely kind of like grounding thing to do.
I can definitely recommend it. Imagine, and actually easier than gardening.
Totally. And the thing is as well, like I think often when you buy flowers, they're a bit like stiff and rigid. Yeah. Especially if you're getting like supermarket flowers or whatever. It's like the beauty of just going outside with a pair of secateurs or whatever they're called. You can pick like the longest, wildest thing. Stick it, like you can literally pick like 2, stick it in a vase and it looks beautiful because it's like huge and leggy and wild and like wispy. So you've got a beautiful like wild, botanical arrangement on your desk and actually you just get outside for like 2 minutes.
And how grounding. Start your week off right. Yeah. Oh, heaven. Okay, I'm ready to do that. I'll send you a picture of my first one.
Do it. Yeah. I'll send some across to you.
And what is one beauty or body care product that you think everyone should invest in?
Sure. So obviously I'm biased. I love our Relax Bath and Body Oil.
Ooh.
I really, really love it. I'm fairly busy and I try and make time for a weekend bath, but like a weekday bath is just not really a thing for me. And I love that I also, especially in the winter, I don't like to get out of the shower and just like stand there cold and then have to put body moisturiser on. Yeah. So what I love to do is I'm kind of like at the end of my shower, I will put our Relax Bath and Body Oil on and then rub it into like damp skin and then just kind of like I don't like actively rub it off with a towel but just kind of like dab it in with the towel and it just leaves your skin super moisturised. Obviously it leaves you smelling amazing for like the whole day. People often ask like what perfume I'm wearing.
Really?
I'm like, it's just the Bath and Body Oil. But I love that because it's also like it's quite quick, it's quite easy, and it's so like high impact for the effort that you have to do. So I would definitely say that, which is it's on our website. But I mean I couldn't pick from my products. I have so many favourites, but that is
and your skin does look very moisturised.
Thank you. I know. You said this morning. That's probably why.
Oh, is that what can I smell?
Yeah, I know. It'll be me.
And then finally, what's one scent that really takes you back to a certain place or time?
Good question. Probably geranium. Ooh. I love geranium. I don't know I think my mum must have had them growing up. Yeah. And they're a very typical like greenhouse, like English greenhouse plant. But they come in so many different varieties, like hundreds if not thousands of varieties. We use a lot of rose geranium, which is essentially just rose scented geranium. It's really fresh, it's really uplifting, it's kind of grassy and herbaceous at the same time. It's not too sweet or like sickly. And it's almost like, for me it's like the scent equivalent of like like just very, do you know what I mean? It's just it's just really uplifting. I never get tired of it. So I would probably have to say geranium.
What a lovely note to end on. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
No, likewise.
And thank you for tuning into this episode. I really hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, please make my day and leave a little review or hit that subscribe button. There are so many things I would love to do with Curated Spaces this year, and that just helps make all of it possible. You can also head to our website for loads more content and also some inspiration for your next trip away. So go get planning your next vacation, and I'll see you next time for more of the London edition.